Let's bring in Marwan Bishara, who's Al Jazeera senior political analyst, joins us now from London following these events as well. So Marwan, as Zainab was just saying, Israel has been trading fire with Hezbollah across Lebanon's southern border in parallel to the war in Gaza. And it appears to be this kind of slow, managed almost escalation.
Yes, but there's a big but this week. You get a sense that we are at a turning point, perhaps. Either there's going to be ceasefire in Gaza and end to the confrontation on the Israel-Lebanese border, or there's going to be continued war in Gaza and intensification of the war on Lebanon. You just get that feeling that a full-fledged war on Lebanon is just a matter of time if this thing continues to escalate. Now, yes, it is important to note that while Israel and Hezbollah have been attacking military bases and military targets, the attacks on villages, the attacks on civilian population centers is also making things worse. And you get the feeling that they're becoming less and less indifferent about the consequences of their actions. And hence, if the ceasefire negotiations continue to be blocked, and in fact, it escalates in Gaza as it has been somewhat the last few days, the situation on Israel-Lebanon borders can get quite more dangerous.
If a ceasefire did come, good news for Gaza, of course, but would it mean that this escalation, the slow escalation that we're seeing across the border with Israel and Lebanon, would just be turned off at that point?
Well, at least that's what Hezbollah or Hezbollah leaders have been saying for the past many months, is that the front on the Lebanese-Israel borders are meant simply to relieve the Gaza or the Gaza front from Israel's wrath. That if only Hezbollah can draw some of Israel's military capacity to the north, its capacity to inflict more and more damage with more and more confidence would be reduced. So the idea of a ceasefire in Gaza, the idea of reconstruction in Gaza, could certainly pave the way for some respite and potentially, or normally, an end to the skirmishes between Lebanon and Israel.
So those negotiations are continuing, the ceasefire negotiations, that is, but it's hard to read which direction they're going. We do know that Israeli negotiators have returned from Cairo back to Israel, and they're returning to Cairo on Sunday.
It seems to me that they're digging into the details, and the details, they're complicated, or they like to complicate it, especially the Israelis. Because for Hamas, it's very simple. Get the hell out of Gaza. Get the hell out of our land. You destroyed enough of our houses and universities and hospitals and kindergartens and so on and so forth. It's time for you to leave. But for the Israelis, no, we're going to maintain military presence here and military oversight there, and we're going to have to be at the borders. They basically want to reoccupy Gaza, albeit not flagrantly. The United States has sort of tried to facilitate that for Netanyahu, allowing for some of his red line to creep into the so-called new bridging proposals, which are, as we've heard at the UN Security Council, very inconsistent with the original proposal, unlike what American diplomats say. My sense, my reading, Nick, and I've been saying that for a number of days, all the ducks are lined up for a ceasefire deal. Most importantly, because this draft ceasefire deal will not lead to security and permanent ceasefire necessarily. The whole point of it is that it was diluted. It was watered down to be a 3 phases, disconnected without an automatic move from phase 1 to phase 2 to phase 3. And hence the idea that this could pass or should pass is not yet a big deal, right? The whole world wants it to pass. Everyone wants some form of respite. And those who supported Israel's genocide the past 10 months would like to be seen as advocating for ceasefire, advocating for more aid to the Palestinians. So even those with the bad intentions, like those with the good intentions, everyone wants a ceasefire except Netanyahu. He seems to be still the odd man out, hoping to get more and more popularity in Israel as a wartime leader, hoping to prolong the war as much as possible, hoping to milk the United States for more concessions, and even milk some of the Arabs for more concessions.
All right, Marwan, thanks for that. Marwan Bishara there in London. More on this as we get it and as the bulletins go on. Thank you.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.